right, welcome back. My name is Taylor Martin. This is the best Damn EDC, and today I would like to show you something that I haven't really talked about a whole lot here on the channel. I think I've uploaded 1 or 2 pictures of it to my Instagram, but if I've mentioned it at all on the channel, it's in passing. I've never really gone into detail on it, and that is my EDC Tool Kit, I guess is what I'll call it. I don't know exactly what I would call this thing. It's not something I carry on me, but it's something I have with me almost every day. Whether it's in my backpack, in my truck, wherever I go, this is usually nearby, within arm's reach, but not on my person. But this is just something that I've thrown together. I've carried it like this for about a year or so, and I've added some things, taken some things out, and I've never really thought too hard about what's in here. I've really just put things I found useful in it, things that have, come in handy or saved the day that I wouldn't want to carry in my pockets, but still would like to have nearby. That's what falls into this pouch. I want to show you guys what this is about, what I've been carrying for a year, and then maybe in a few months once I've revised it, I'll show you where I land with it. But this is my EDC toolkit, and let's do the damn thing. So here we are with my EDC toolkit. And for starters, I keep this thing in a Maxpedition micro pocket. This is, I think, one of the smallest Maxpeditions you can get. And one of the reasons I like the size of this was not intentional, but one of the reasons that I do like this is because it fits in the bottle pocket on the side of most of my backpacks, which means I don't have to go digging through the backpack to get the toolkit. It's literally there. I can grab the handle and pull it out and go do what I need to do. Just makes it very, very accessible. That said, as you can see, this thing is packed to the brim. It's very full. And I probably could not add much to this without it just bursting at the seams. So maybe I'll upgrade the size. If I do, then it's just going to get heavier. So maybe I keep it this size. I don't know. As you can tell, this thing is packed pretty full. And I guess we're just going to pick a random place to start. A Leatherman is a really, really great tool to have, even if you don't have a kit like this, because for the most part, this can do everything that anything in here can do minus the flashlight and the edge maintenance tool on its own. There are some shortcomings of a multi-tool. It's really good at a lot of things, but it's not the greatest tool for everything. Whether I had a Leatherman or a Gerber or even a Swiss Army knife, I would like to have a multi-tool in my toolkit just to have, a lot of tools in a small package. And the Leatherman Free P4, the reason this is in here, I would probably rather choose a Leatherman Wave because it's got better tools on it. But the problem with the Leatherman Wave is the size. It's short and wide. This one is long and narrow, and that just suits this whole package a little better. I like the Wave, I like the Free P4, I like them both, so I just threw the Free P4 in here because the Wave just doesn't fit quite as nice. You do get, I would say, less nice tools on the Free P4, thinner stock on some of these things, but most of these tools I'm not using a ton. I'm using the pliers, the knife, the scissors, the saw even, so this suits that just perfectly fine. So Leatherman Free P4, any multi-tool would do just fine. Next up, we have the Big Idea Design Ti EDC wrench. And this is just an old design that's been re-envisioned into an EDC tool. This whole design is something you've seen on adjustable wrenches before. It's nothing new, but it being on a titanium pocket tool is really, really neat. This is something that I never really felt the need to carry every day, but it is perfect for a little kit like this. This thing has actually saved the day a ton of times because they're actually the toolbox that I keep my EDC gear in. It's a little Craftsman toolbox, and I was putting the wheels on that when I first bought it, and I had a crescent wrench that couldn't fit where I needed a wrench to put the wheels on, and this was the only tool. I had a whole toolbox in front of me. This was the only thing I could get to fit in the space to tighten down the nut, and yeah, I had to use my EDC tool to get the job done, even though I had a whole toolbox full of tools there. So that is just a testament to how some of these things actually come in pretty clutch at times. I was also in my truck one day, it wouldn't turn over, and I popped the hood and noticed one of the battery terminals had come loose. This did the job perfectly fine. So yeah, it's come in clutch many, many times, but it's not a tool I'd carry every day. But in something like this, I think the Ti EDC wrench from Big Idea Design is absolutely perfect. In the back, I do have a set of spare bits for the screwdriver, which we'll get to, and an extension, which this extension was in here for the bit bar. I had a Big Idea Design bit bar in this kit, but it was a little bigger, a little bulkier, and I prefer their newer screwdriver. But like I said, we'll get to that. These are just accessories for that, so we're not going to really dwell on those too long. You know what bits are, you know what a bit extender is. I also have a little pin in here. I've got a ton of EDC pins. The Hinderer is one of the most robust, strong pens. It's supposed to have a Fisher Space Pen refill in it, but I bought these off either someone in the Discord server or Reddit, and they took the Fisher Space Pen refills out in the spring and then put this refill in there, and now I can't put a Fisher Space Pen back in it because I don't have the springs. So if anybody knows where I can get a spring for a Hinderer pen, let me know down below, because I'd like to actually put a Fisher Space Pen back in these. Even though that's not my favorite refill, the whole point in this is it being able to work in whatever condition, whatever the scenario. And I don't know what refill this is, but a Fisher Space Pen can write in almost any condition. So I'd like to get this back to its original refill. The other thing is this does have a glass breaker on the end. But yeah, just Hinderer Investigator pen. They're just bomb-proof. And then I also have the Benchmade Work Sharp Edge Maintenance Tool. These were announced at Blade Show last year, I believe, and it's just a little collaboration between the two companies. I don't think it's the best tool for any field sharpening job, but it's something that's small enough to fit in here, and you can actually hone your edge if needed, and also strop, which is a lot of the time all you need to get a knife back to really razor sharp. If you've not just completely abused the edge on your knife, this will get the job done in a pinch, and that's all it's in here for. And that's all that's on this right side. If we go over to the left side, I've gone through several different flashlights in this. Most of them have been like an S2R or the Baton Pro. I landed with the Baton Pro because, well, they came out with a titanium version, and most of the stuff in here is titanium. But also, this thing has insane output for the size. And while I wouldn't want to carry one of these daily, which I've EDC'd a Baton Pro, in fact, this Baton Pro, but it's just a little too much for my pocket for everyday carry. So now I'm carrying an Okluma DC0, which is all you'd ever need for EDC. It's bright enough, it's dim enough, and it's more compact, and that's something I want in an EDC flashlight. But the Baton Pro, the reason I've got such a beefy flashlight in this is because, as many of you know, my dogs went missing when we were out of town for a wedding in October of last year. And when we came back, we were looking for them at night. And all I had on me was an S1R Baton 2 and I think an S2R Baton 2. And just using those two flashlights, which were both fully charged when we started side by side, the S1R just did not hold up. It worked for 30, 40 minutes, and then we were screwed. The S2R Baton 2 just kept going and kept going. And that's just a massive difference between a CR123A battery and an 18650. So I would much rather go with a Baton Pro and have that higher output. Even if I'm not using the higher output, it means longer run times at a lower output, which is mostly what you're going to use. Nobody's using turbo all the time. Something like this, I don't necessarily need the Moonlight for something that's in a toolkit, but I can have those insane run times and I'm not having to carry it in my pocket. So that's why I use the Baton Pro in here. Considered since getting this is the Okluma DC1, putting this in here, but it's just a little more chunky and doesn't have quite the punch that the Olight has. So this spot is going to be reserved for a very, very bright flashlight. Next to that, I've already mentioned this, but this is the Big Idea Design EDS, which stands for Everyday Screwdriver. So this was the natural progression of the bit bar from Big Idea Design, which, if you don't recall, is a screwdriver with bits in the handle. So you push this little spring-loaded section in the middle and the bits are stored in the handle. This also stores bits, but this stores 2 instead of 6. The benefit to this is not only is it smaller, it has an extension built in. So the bit bar shipped with an extension, but not one built in. You don't really lose any features from the bit bar other than the storage, which is not a major deal if you can just store a few bits in whatever you're carrying it in. But you do get the benefit of an extension, which is really nice. You still get the same pocket clip, and you get a titanium frame lock, which is not something I ever thought I'd need for a screwdriver, but it's cool, I guess. And there is a little bit of a fidgetability with this thing. It does flick, and it does have, there it is. There went the bit across the room. No idea where that went, but the bit's gone now. And the one thing I was about to show you is that there's detent, but the detent is from the bit. If you take the bit out, there's nothing keeping this from moving, so you do need to store a bit in there so it will stay closed. I'm gonna have to go find that bit at some point. I was gonna tell you that it can flick, but if you're not careful and flick too hard, your bit will fly out, which mine did. It's gone. I'm never gonna find that. So yeah, that is the EDS from Big Idea Design. It is a really, really cool pocket tool that, again, it's not something I want to carry in my pocket every day, but for a toolkit like this, it's perfect. All right, I have 2 pry bars in here, and this is really just to flex on all those people who are like, why do you need a pry bar in your EDC? This isn't technically my EDC, but still, I don't do a ton of prying tasks, but what I use pry bars for is mainly flatheads on the camera plates. I've explained it a billion times. Opening bottles. Used one the other day for prying off the nails for the blind that was on the office door. I had to pry that off. I used a pry bar from my pocket. It's something where if you don't want to break the tip off your knife, just use a pry bar. I don't think everybody needs one. I know not everybody needs one, but it's something that I carry. But in this case, I have two inside my toolkit. The first one is the Rat Bastard Enigma Pocket Probe. The main reason this one's in here, of course, it's got all these tools like a pry bar, a bottle opener, bit storage, and a bit holder or bit driver, bit wrench. But the main reason that I have this is the insanely robust tweezers. That's really it. I could probably go out and buy some cheap tweezers, but I didn't really think about that. I just used what I had. And then the tool I would use for actual prying is the Griffin Pocket Tool XL. It's just a robust pry tool. In the grand scheme of things, the Griffin Pocket Tool XL is not super expensive. It's made of stainless steel instead of titanium. There is a titanium version, but this one is steel, and it has a groove for a nail lifter. It's just a pretty robust, beefy pocket tool that I can just beat up on and not worry about. And then the last item in this is a Big Idea Design TPT. This is the original one that I bought a long time ago and had customized by EDC Alabama, or Matt. And as you guys know, this is just a utility knife. It's got a bunch of different tools that I'm not really using for anything, but it's mainly a utility blade holder that if I'm doing some really nasty work and I don't want to mess up my knife, such as cutting down boxes that has staples in it or just something that might chip a blade, this is what I would be using for that instead of my knife. I don't mind abusing my knife, but if I can save the blade and save the edge, it's much easier to replace a utility knife blade than it is to field sharpen a knife that you've rolled or chipped out. This is really just for nasty, nasty cutting tasks where you might be hitting metal or concrete or something and you don't really care about these utility blades, but you definitely wouldn't want to do that to your actual knife. So there you have it. That is the everyday toolkit that I keep in my backpack at all times. And like I said, now that I've made this video, when I was thinking about making this video, it made me think about what I wanted to put in here. And I went through all of my gear. And I took out things and I was going to swap stuff out. And I kept coming back to this configuration, which is what it was to begin with. But I could, step it up a notch, get the slightly larger Maxpedition or something similar and put, first aid stuff in here. I think that's probably a really good idea. And then different things like fire starters, just small, very helpful things, and turn it into maybe like a really, really small, compact survival kit versus just having this little toolkit. I don't know. Maybe that's overkill, maybe it's stupid. I'll let you guys know where I land on that and give you an update in just a couple of months. This is something that I like having with me at all times, just in case. Whether I'm working on my truck in a pinch or out in the woods and need something, this is just a really cool toolkit that I'd like to have with me at all times. So there you have it. That is going to do it for this video. If you found it helpful and you enjoyed it, be sure to hit that thumbs up button down below and subscribe to see more stuff like this in the future, and hit that notification bell so you're notified when I upload new videos. If you want to support what I'm doing here, hit the links down below. Everything you saw in this video inside this toolkit is going to be linked down below. Most of those are affiliate links, so if you purchase anything using those links, I get a little bit of a kickback, but it doesn't cost you anything extra. It's just a win-win for both of us. There's also Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/bestdamnedc and to support there, or you can go to Carry Commission, carrycommission.com or carry.best. That is my store. You can buy gear and merch directly from me. That is one of the best ways to support what I'm doing here. But also be sure to follow us around the web. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at bestdamnedc. There's also now a Facebook page and group, which you can request to join, and a Discord server. I highly recommend you follow there if you want to see what's going on behind the scenes, talk to me directly, and just get stuff, updates on things that you don't see here on the channel. If I'm